Okay, where? There we go. Oh, it's 11:11. Yay! 11:11. 11:11. Okay, let me see. Who's live? Hey, Mimi. Hey, come here. Come here. What are you doing? Come here, crazy cat. All right, but come here. Okay, look. There we go. Hello, hello, hello. This is my new baby. Oh, she wanted to get up here and then she left. I am talking about ways to raise your vibration tonight. And one of the ways, or how do you raise your vibration? We are moving into 5D, and a lot of us are going through a lot of changes, a lot of wicky-wacky stuff, a lot of negativity, and I thought it would be cool to talk about ways to raise your vibration, raise your energy, raise your frequency. Everybody says raise your frequency, but sometimes you don't know how to do that, right? So I'm just talking about that. Welcome into the live. Oh, welcome into the live. Thanks for joining. One of the things I've been working on is dissolving false cells and finding triggers. I have a group of Indigos that I work with, and we've been finding success in doing that. And also charging your water. This is a water bottle. You see the words I have written on my water bottle? Love, thank you, peace, health. When you write on your water bottle, it is very helpful. It works. It heals. It helps heal you. Helps heal your energy. And there was a study done by Dr. I can never say his name. Masaru Emoto. And if you haven't read this book, it's a really great book, The Power of Water. I got this book many years ago because I watched a movie called What the Bleep Do We Know? It was in there. And it was a whole study about the words that we speak to each other and to ourselves. And because our bodies are like, 70 to 90% water, we can change the frequency of our own bodies by writing positive words on our water containers. And typically it's better to have a glass water container, but if you don't have one, you can write it on your plastic bottles and then let it sit for like 24 hours and then drink it. The water changes. It really does. It tastes better. It tastes delicious. I found that even my cats can tell the difference between, and my dog, she's passed away now, but if I put out tap water and then put out the charged water, they would always drink the charged water quicker than they would drink the tap water. And I didn't notice that until one day my cat came up and she kept going after my water, right? It didn't even dawn on me to give them the charged water. And she would go after my water. And I'd be like, get out, get out, get out. Stop putting your head in my water. You got water. And then I realized they liked drinking the charged water better than they liked drinking the tap water. So there is something, animals know. Animals know. They have like a really good intuitive instinct. They can tell the difference between tap water and the charged water. So our bodies are 70 to 80% water. What do you think is happening to your body when you're saying, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, why did I do that? You know, you're giving yourself these negative thought patterns just by the words that you speak over yourself. So I learned that from reading this book, just this. I mean, if you just do this, even changing your water, the power of the water that you're drinking by charging your water, you can help raise your energy frequency. And there's some really cool pictures in this book. I'll show you. These are pictures of some of what tap water looks like under a microscope. Can you see that? Look at it. And this is what happens and it changes when you put power words on your water. If you look deep underneath the microscope, you can see what happens when you put or write love, peace, thank you, happiness, success, joy, wealth. I call them power words, and you put them on your water. The crystals, the water changes. Look at that. Imagine you're drinking tap water and the tap water looks like that. Ew. And then you change your own water. You have the power to do that. All you have to do is write the words on the water. That's it. That's all you got to do. Write the words. It's amazing. Look at that. So that's one way that I raise my frequency. How do you raise your frequency? How do you raise your energy frequency? There's a lot going on right now in the United States. I don't know if you heard. A lot of changes, a lot of different things are happening, and people are nervous. People are scared and afraid. So when you got wicky-wacky going on or crazy stuff going on or thoughts going on in your mind and in your head, and you don't know how to process it or, you know, get rid of it, what are some of the things that you do? I know back in the day when I used to have a hard time sleeping, I would be tossing and turning. I sleep like a baby now. I don't have that problem. I don't have a hard time sleeping anymore. But one of the things that I used to do was it was crazy. It was a shot in the dark for me because I was having a rough time. And I started saying the Lord's Prayer over and over and over before I would go to sleep. I'd be tossing and turning, and I got a lot of things on my mind, bills to pay, I'm raising my kids, And one night I was sitting, I couldn't sleep, and I just started saying the Lord's Prayer over and over and over, just over and over and over. Like first I counted sheep. That didn't work. Counting sheep does not work. It does not help you go to sleep. It does not calm your mind. It does not calm your thoughts at all. And I started saying the Lord's Prayer over and over and over. And the next thing I knew, I was waking up the next day. I had fallen asleep. And it was always the best sleep that I ever had. My glasses are crooked tonight. But how are you all doing? How are you feeling? What's going on in your area? Are you having a lot of angst, a lot of fear, a lot of stuff that's right now making you feel like you don't know what to do? You can't figure out how to rob Peter to pay Paul. Another thing that I do that helps me to raise my energy frequency and raise my vibration is I practice every day as best I can. Some days are better than others. Some days I'm not that good. But for the most part, I'm really good now. I read this book many years ago called The Power of Now. And it's by Eckhart Tolle. And that book taught me how to bring my attention and bring my thought process back to this now moment, because 9 times out of 10, our minds will drift off. Like if you're riding a bike or driving a car or you are washing dishes or in the shower, your mind will drift off. Maybe you're thinking about things that are gonna happen that didn't happen. You're creating angst in your thought process because you're worried, or you're thinking about stuff that happened before in the past, and you're thinking about those things, and you're feeling sad, or you're feeling regret, or whatever. And so you're not being in the now, right? So the past happened. The future hasn't happened. All you have right now is this now moment. I remember telling one of my friends, I said, there's no such thing as tomorrow. She was like, what are you talking about? I said, well, when you get to tomorrow, it'll be now. She said, what? I said, tomorrow is going to be now. When we get to tomorrow, it'll be now. So really, tomorrow doesn't exist yet. And she couldn't kind of wrap that up in her mind. And so one of the things that I do is practice the power of now and staying in the now moment. So let's just say you're washing dishes and your mind starts to wander. If you pay attention and bring your attention to the action of just washing the dishes, your mind can't wander. This is how you can control, bring your mind back to less chaotic thought patterns. And I remember I used to say to my friend, if you could just jump in my mind right now, you would see it's chaos and confusion in there. I wish you could just get in my mind and help me quiet my mind down. But nobody else can jump into your mind to help you. That's something that you have to do. That's an inside job. Only you can do that. Only you can bring about thought patterns that are helpful for you. Only you can do it. And a lot of us right now are receiving information to help each other, right? So if you use some technique, something that's helpful, you should really be posting it on TikTok. You should really be bringing your message to TikTok and helping other people what techniques that you use that somebody else can benefit from. So back to staying in the now moment. For me, if I'm washing dishes, usually my mind drifts off when I'm washing dishes. It's like a stampede in there, right? It's like chaos in there. I'll just start going off to all kinds of different scenarios. And then I have to catch myself. And the thing is, it doesn't matter how many times your mind drifts off. What matters is how many times you catch it. That's the key for me. That's what I found anyway. It's how many times your things still meow. I don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't matter how many times hi Frank. Hi Frank. It doesn't matter how many times I drift off or my mind drifts off. What matters is how many times I catch my mind drifting off. So I will be washing dishes. My mind will go to some scenario, and then I focus on actually the action that I'm doing. And feel the soap, feel the water, pay attention to the actual washing of dishes. Or if I'm walking to the store, that happens too. And that's a good way to meditate. A lot of times people think you have to sit quiet, still, someplace sacred to meditate. You can meditate while you're walking down the street. As long as you are not allowing your mind to control you and you bring your mind back to a peaceful moment. So if you're walking, let's say you're walking down the street and your mind starts to wander, bring it back to the action that you're doing. I'm walking, right? And just pay attention to your body movements. Pay attention to the steps that you're taking. Pay attention to your breath. Pay attention to what's around you at that moment, right? Are you safe? Are you in a safe space? Because if you're in a safe space, then you shouldn't be worried. You shouldn't have any fear. If you're not in a safe space, okay, fine, that makes sense. But if say you're home, relaxing, and all of a sudden you start thinking about the bills you got to pay tomorrow, or you start thinking about you got to go to work, and all of a sudden your mind starts to go crazy. Bring your thought pattern back to what is happening right now. Is everything okay right now? If everything is okay right now, then take a deep breath and focus on the now moment. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle is a really good book. It will really help you harness the power of now and staying in the now moment. That's what I've found is helpful. And again, put in power words on your water. I can't stress that enough. That changes a whole lot of things. I will put water out in a glass, and even if you write words or power words and on a piece of paper and put it underneath the water container or the water bottle, that will help. That will change the structure of the water that you drink. It always works. Try it. See if that works for you. You want to see if it works? Give it to your animals. If you have pets, do a side by side and see if that works. Another way that you can raise your energy frequency, like a lot of people can't meditate at all. And I started teaching, in 2007, I started teaching Law of Attraction and Law of Assumption. And first we did Law of Attraction with Abraham Hicks. And then we moved from that to Law of Assumption with Neville Goddard. And what a difference that made. Because one of the ways that you can change your frequency and also manifest the things that you desire is by, as you drift off to sleep, when you start to drift off to sleep, like right before you go to sleep, give yourself a scenario or something in your imagination that feels good to you, because everything starts in your imagination first. It's your feeling and your imagination and your thoughts. Your thoughts Like, you don't create with your thoughts only. You create your reality with your feeling. Your feeling is the key. And if you're feeling wicky wacky, I don't like to say negative. That's not like a thing I say all the time. I say wicky wacky instead of negative. If you're starting to feel wicky wacky, you have the power. You have the power to change your thought process. It can only happen with you. You're the one that has the power within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. It's always within you. And so if you bring your imagination to a place, and it only has to be short, it doesn't have to be a long, drawn out scenario. I'm going to give you an example. I used to, I manifested so many things in so many scenarios doing this little technique that Neville Goddard taught. And if you don't know Neville Goddard, you can find some of his teachings online. There's a real good book that he has. Let me see, I think I have it right here. I have a lot of books. I'm a nerd. I read a lot. Resurrection. That's the name of it. Yeah. Here it is. It's a really small book, but it's really powerful, and it's Resurrection by Neville Goddard. And he talks about how to manifest with your imagination and how to change your frequency with your imagination. So if you, because everything starts in our imagination first, if you focus on your imagination, create a scenario, it doesn't have to be a big scenario. It can be something small. I remember I wanted a car and I didn't have a car, and I was living in Pennsylvania. I live in New York now. And I didn't know how I was going to get the car. I didn't have no money to get the car. Okay. I needed a car and I didn't have the money to get the car. Now when I live in New York, I don't really need one, so I don't have a car anymore. But every night before I would go to sleep, as I was drifting off to sleep, I created a scenario in my mind of me, and you have to visualize it not like you're on a movie screen, but like you are. Yes, I can show you the book again, no problem. Resurrection by Neville Goddard. And if you, well, look, here's what I'll do. I'll just read it to you. I'll read a part of it for you. And I have read this book so many times. I know it backwards and forwards. But there's a really cool part about imagination and faith. And it's in chapter 3. And it said, prayers are not successfully made unless there is a rapport between the conscious and subconscious mind of the operator. That would be you and me. This is done through imagination and faith. By the power of imagination, all men, certainly imaginative men or women, are forever casting forth enchantments. And all men, especially unimaginative men, are continually passing under their power. So think about that. If everybody's casting enchantments, right? Thoughts, feelings. Other people, if you are not conscious and you're not focusing on yourself within the power within you, you're subject to other people's enchantments. So right now, there are a lot of different changes that are happening in the United States. Are you subject to somebody else's enchantments, or are you creating your own? And when you get strong in your own consciousness and your own spirit, it almost doesn't matter what's happening in the world around you, because you and your faith, your imagination and your faith, is what's creating your reality, not somebody else creating your reality for you. So he says, can we ever be certain that it was not our mother while darning our socks who began that subtle change in our minds? If I unintentionally cast an enchantment over persons, there is no reason to doubt that I'm able to cast intentionally a stronger enchantment. So he uses the Bible a lot. And that's why I liked him in the beginning, because I was moving from a very hard religious lifestyle or background. I used to be a Jehovah's Witness till I got kicked out. Until they kicked me out. I was kicked out. So, or disfellowship, that's what they call it. And I knew my Bible backwards and forwards. Not the Jehovah's Witness Bible, but the regular schmegular Bible. I knew that backwards and forwards. And then I found Neville Goddard, who was Bible based, and he talked about the kingdom of heaven being within you and this power of your imagination, and how the power of your imagination can create your reality. So getting back to the story of me using my imagination to get a car, I created a scenario in my mind. And the scenario was, I would drive my car to my friend's house, and I imagined myself walking up her stairs and, well, first getting out of my car, closing the door, walking up her stairs, feeling everything, like feeling it at all, like it was real, like it was happening right in this moment. So I would get out of the car, walk up her stairs, ring her doorbell, pull open her door, feel the whoosh on my face of the, when you pull open the door, you feel like that little whoosh, that breeze. I would feel that in my imagination. It felt real. And I would feel myself pulling the door open, and the screen door, and then she would come out of her house, and I would say to her, look at my car. And she was going, oh my God, Sydney, I can't believe it. And she gave me a hug. I played that scenario over in my mind for a couple of months, every night, as I drifted off to sleep. And sometimes I would do it on purpose. Like if I was home and I was relaxing and I was chilling, I would sit, and there's that place that happens right before you drift off to sleep that you have no resistance to anything. And it is the most, it's the easiest way to be able to change your thought process, is right in that little, right between when you're awake and when you drift off to real deep sleep. There's a space right in between there. So I would get into that space, get into that zone, and I would imagine that scenario, me driving the car to her house, feeling the steering wheel, feeling my hand touch the door, opening the door, and walking to her front door. And I would look down at my feet as I was walking, because that's what you do. You don't want to look at it. You don't want to create an imagination scenario like it's on a movie screen. You want to do it like you would in real life. So I would do this like I would in real life. And I did it over and over and over and over every night before I would go to sleep. It wasn't even 3 months. I would say 2 months. It was about 2 months. And that scenario actually did happen. As a matter of fact, I just talked to her on the phone today, and I was like, you remember when I told you I was using you in my imagination? She said, yeah, when you got your car. But the thing is, nobody knows that you're doing this in your imagination. So There's no way to prove that it actually works. Only you know. You're proving it to yourself. You're the only one that can prove it to yourself that you did this. You know you did this. How did you get kicked? Oh, how did I get kicked out of the Jehovah's Witness? According to them, I was a very bad girl. And I was pregnant before I got married. So there you go. And they do a whole tribunal. Actually, they came and hunted me down. Okay. Actually, my mother sent them to come hunt me down, the elders. And I was young. I was like 20 years old. And I say young because in the Jehovah's Witness faith, you are very sequestered, right? So you only have friends that are Jehovah's Witness. So you don't have worldly associations. You don't mingle with anybody who's not a Jehovah's Witness. So that is why I say I was young. Like for most 20-year-olds at that time were doing all kinds of things. I didn't do anything really, but I got pregnant. I didn't get pregnant by myself, but I got pregnant. And I became pregnant. And then it wasn't like I could hide that I was, what I was doing. And the man that I was with, I wound up marrying him. But at that time, my mother was a staunch Jehovah's Witness. She called the elders, and I had left. I had left my home. I left and went and stayed with a friend. And I had a job. I was working full time in the whole nine. And she called the elders and sent them to come get me. And they did. They found me at work because, I was working. And they said that I needed to come back. And I was like, I'm not coming back. And they said, no, your mother loves you, and, we're just concerned about you, and we just want to talk to you. We just want to talk. I was like, okay. And before I got kicked out, I had been reprimanded already. I was already in trouble. I was one of those. I was a trouble kid. According to them, I really wasn't. I wasn't a bad kid. I wasn't wild or anything, but according to them, I was a troubled kid. And so I had dated an elder's son at that time. I had dated an elder's son. And he decided that he was going to rat us out. This is before I got pregnant. And he got away scot-free, but I got publicly reprimanded. So what happens is when you get publicly reprimanded, they make an announcement to all the congregations in your area that you are publicly reprimanded. I can't remember what they call that now. And so I was publicly reprimanded for 6 months. And then, then I got out of jail, so to speak. And then I got into trouble again. And at this point, they had had enough. They had had enough of me, I guess. They wanted to make an example of me, basically. So they came and found me. I came back. They had this big meeting and brought me into the Kingdom Hall, and you sit in front of 3 elders and they ask you questions about what you did, how you felt while you were doing it, did you enjoy it, I mean, it was you got grilled, you get drilled, and then they make a decision based on that. So I have been a Jehovah's Witness pretty much my entire life. My parents, I became a Jehovah's Witness when I was like 5 or 6, because that's when my parents decided they were going to, stop celebrating Christmas and everything, and became Jehovah's Witnesses. And then they made a decision and said, "That's it. You're done. We disfellowship in you." And I said, "But I thought you just wanted to talk to me. I didn't know you were going to kick me out." They were like, "Yeah, well, that's it." So then they made an announcement to all the surrounding Kingdom Halls in my area and abroad, and that's it. So I was kicked out at the age of 20, and I never went back, which is a good thing, actually. It turned out to be a good thing. But at that time, I didn't have any friends that were not Jehovah's Witnesses, because what happens is when you are disfellowshipped from being a Jehovah's Witness, when you get kicked out from being a Jehovah's Witness, nobody's allowed to talk to you anymore. Not your family, not your friends, no one. And it's a shunning. It's like the Amish, except worse, I think. I don't know, because I've never been Amish, so I can't say if it's worse or if it's worse. But when you're a Jehovah's Witness, everybody shuts you down. I remember one day I was walking in the mall. I was pregnant at the time. And my best friend, she used to be my best friend at that point, and I saw her at the mall, and she was walking ahead of me, and I was coming up right behind her, and she wouldn't even hold the door open for me. She let it slam right in my face. I was like, dang, this is terrible. But yeah, so my father had been disfellowshipped before me, and then I followed in his footsteps. So yeah, they stopped talking to you. It's really very it's not a real loving thing, that how they treat the people of their, like when you make a mistake or you do something, the elders decide if you're repentant enough. They will say that they make a decision and they say, well, she's not repentant. So if she's not repentant for her sins, then we got to get her out of here, because we don't want her to influence the other young women in the Jehovah's Witness religion. But a lot of times, most people, when that happens, because it's I feel like it's a cult. That's my feeling. Being a Jehovah's Witness is like being in a cult, and they are always the victim, and you learn to be a victim too because of it. You walk around and with the woe is me, and how come this is happening to me, and it helped me to be able to help other people, though. Having had gone through that, it helps me to be able to help others. So I consider myself like a dark light worker, because you can't know the light if you're constantly in the light. You have to sometimes be in the dark in order to appreciate the light and know the light. So if you're standing in the light all the time, then how are you going to see the light if you're in the light all the time? You can't, right? If you're in the dark, that's when you see the light. So by me being in the dark, it allows me to be able to see the light. I'm like what you call an anchor. I help people who are in dark to move to the light. So that's like my job in a way. So because I experience so much darkness, I can assist people who are experiencing dark times and in dark times. I tend to be the type of person that when I say I'm ahead of the curve, I don't mean that like, I know more. I'm usually experiencing dark times way before everybody else does. And then when I come out of it, everybody else is in the dark. I'm able to help them move towards the light. So that's what I do. That's how I move through the universe or universes. There's a lot. There's a lot of ways to help and assist people. So I put love and energy light towards the dark. I can move through the dark, and I know how to protect my energy. I know how to be able to move into the dark spaces and help people move out of the dark spaces. And again, if you haven't had the opportunity to read Neville Goddard, you really should. I also recommend that. Oh, where's my other one? I don't have it here. There's another really good book. Well, you can read my book. You can read my book, and if you click the blink in my bio, then you can read my book on how to dissolve false selves and clear your energy frequency. But there's also a recording. So if you don't read, or not if you don't read, but if you don't have time to sit and read a book, like a lot of people don't have time to sit and read a book, you can get the recording of the book. But meditation is key, because when we pray, we're talking. Talk. But when you meditate, you are able to quiet your mind, and that's when you receive the messages. So a lot of times people say, well, I don't know how to follow my intuition. Sounds like your mother really loves you. Do you think you will ever go back to visit? My mother passed away. She stopped talking to me. She wouldn't talk to me. I would try to talk to her often. I would call and I would visit, but I couldn't visit uninvited. Like a couple of times I would just show up just to say hi because I was in the neighborhood. I learned very quickly that's not a good thing. So she didn't want to have the relationship with me. And I wanted to have a relationship with her. And she passed away a year ago now. Last November. And that never changed, unfortunately, for her, because I loved her very much. I don't know if she loved me, but I know she didn't like me. I have no idea if she loved me or not, but she chose the religion over a relationship with myself and two of my other sisters as well. Yeah. One of them actually finally left my baby sister. Well, she's not a baby, but she's my baby sister, but she don't like me calling her that, but she's younger than me. She left the religion, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 years ago. And because of that, she had a tumultuous relationship with my mother as well. And then my sister, who's right behind me, she wound up not She didn't get this fellowship. Like, they didn't get this fellowship. Only me. Only I got this fellowship. Because I'm part of the evil slave class. That's what they call people like me. They now we the I have there's like there's 7 girls in my family, 2 boys, and out of the 7, 3 of us are no longer Jehovah's Witnesses. The rest of them still 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 go to the Kingdom Hall, still do all that stuff. So it is what it is. Being a Jehovah's Witness is not an easy. It's like any of these organized religions, or I guess what are you, the fundamentalists or whatever. It's really very difficult for a lot of people to be Jehovah's Witnesses that just want to have their life and live their life according to what's in their soul. And yeah, that's it. That's it. That's all. Although, oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. It's funny though, because the pregnancy, little girl, she was a little girl, she didn't make it. And the reason why she didn't make it was something happened, and I almost died too. So I almost died because at that time I still had the Jehovah's Witness mindset, and I didn't take any blood. So I told my husband at the time, no matter what happens, do not give me blood. Well, that didn't age well, and it didn't go very well, because I started hemorrhaging, and I lost 95% of my blood. That is literally like that's it. You're out of here. You're out of here. Take her out, coach. And I had lost 95% of my blood. I was dying. And my little girl, she didn't make it. She passed away. And the Jehovah's Witness, I was still in my mindset. I was still a Jehovah's Witness. I still believed everything. I still believed all of that. Everything that they told me, I still believed. How could I not? I was a Jehovah's Witness from the time I was 6 years old until now I'm 20, right? So I had told my husband that I didn't want to take any blood, and I was dying, and I was hemorrhaging, and it was bad. It was really bad. So they were giving me blood derivatives, right? And that wasn't working because my blood wasn't clotting. It wasn't working. So the hospital now was fighting for my life. I had just resigned myself to just, be gone. That was it. I was like, okay, if this is my punishment, then I'm just going to, exit stage left. And so they called my parents to come in, and thank God I was married, because my mother at the time was like, well, she can't have any blood. And my dad came, because my mom and dad were split at the time, so they weren't together anymore, because he got kicked out too. Remember I told you? So he came to the hospital, and my husband was there, right? And the doctors they sending everybody in. They even sent the janitor into my room to try to convince me to take blood, and I wouldn't do it. And so I was dying. I wasn't supposed to say that. I'm sorry. I was leaving the planet. And they started to get a court order for me to take the blood. They decided that that was it. They were going to get a court order so that I would have to take this blood. And because my husband, he was caught in the middle, right? He didn't want me to leave, and he didn't want to go against my wishes, and he was the one that was responsible for my, responsible for me. Oh, thank you. Hello. Hi, Mike. And he was responsible for me, right? As my husband, next to kin. And my mom was like, nope, she can't have the blood. My dad was, well, he didn't want me to leave either, but he didn't know what to do. He couldn't, he was just so messed up because I'm the oldest, right? I'm his firstborn. So, right as they got the court order, my husband signed the paper and said, give her blood, because I was out. I remember not, I could remember just seeing their eyes and part of their head, but like I don't remember much. And they gave me the blood. And at first the blood wasn't, my hemoglobin was like at a 1. And they had to give me 7 pints of blood in order to bring me back. My skin turned literally white. Literally. That was it. I was leaving. And the Jehovah's Witnesses heard about it. All of my old friends and family and stuff like that. And they came to the hospital. This is when I really decided I was never going back. Never. They came to the hospital and they wouldn't come in my room. They all stood outside my room because I was in ICU, so there was a glass. I don't know why they were allowed up there, but they were all standing outside of my room door watching me leave. And they wouldn't come in to, because everybody was coming in to pay their last respects. And they wouldn't come in my room. They wouldn't. Because I was part of the evil slave class, or whatever they call that stupid thing. And they wouldn't come in my room. They wouldn't say goodbye. They wouldn't say I love you. They wouldn't say anything. They just stood there and gave my mother the advice to sue the hospital for saving my life. What kind of nonsense is that? Right? You want me and you want my family to sue the hospital for saving my life because I had signed something that said I didn't want, I signed that I didn't want the blood. And no, my husband didn't. They got a court order. That's what happened. They did get the court order. They got the court order. And just as my husband was going to sign it, they had already got the court order. So he didn't have to. That's what happened. So because they got the court order, they advised my mom that she should sue the hospital and that I should sue the hospital. And then when I came home, my mom said to me, it would have been better if you had died. I said the word again. It would be better if you had left. I was like, what? She said, yes, because, now, you went against Jehovah and you really shouldn't be here. It would have been better off because then you could be resurrected. That was it. I was like, what kind of crazy place is this? What kind of crazy religion is this? So, yeah, I would never go back. Ever. And that's the reason. They're not good people, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Okay? They wouldn't spit on me if I was on fire. Literally. So, they wouldn't spit on anybody. But now I'm a very happy camper. Life is good, delicious, fabulous. I love everybody. I love life. I do my best to live my life and in a space of love, joy, peace, and happiness, and do my best to help others do the same. Help others to manifest the dreams and desires that they want to be, do, and have. And that's it. It's so funny because I turned out to be a really amazing, wonderful person, even though they said I wasn't. So you can't believe what people tell you on the outside. You can't believe it. Don't let anybody yuck up your yum. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't be, do, or have anything that you desire, because you are source energy and here in a physical body, and you can be, do, and have anything that you want to do. So before I leave, whoever's in the chat, give me a number. I'm going to read an angel number for you. I'm going to read a message for you. So type a number, whatever your number is. Hi, Nisi. Oh, you're welcome. That's right. Only God knows my heart. Only God. That's all I gotta worry about. I don't care what anybody says about me anymore. I used to, but not anymore. Do you think your God still let you into paradise? Well, the kingdom of heaven is within me, so I'm already there. I'm already there. What's a number? Pick a number. You put your number down, and I will read your angel number before I go. Pick a number, whatever your number is. Put it in the chat, and I will read your angel number before I roll up out of here and go finish editing my rest of my other book. Who's got a number? Give me a number before I go. Before I go. All right. Oh, I gotta put the puzzle piece in. Okay. Oh my goodness. There we go. 555. Oh, I love that number. I love 555. That means change. Change is coming. All right, let's see. Let's see what it says. 555. I got a story about 555. I'll tell it another time. Okay, Nisi, are you ready? All of your efforts are paying off. Abundance is yours to have. Live and experience. Open up your heart, arms, and mind to receive the blessings that are being offered to you now. That's a beautiful message. Did you get it? You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Well, since nobody else is requesting a number, I'm going to leave. So have a great night. Remember that you can be, do, and have anything that you desire. You are source energy right here in the physical body. And it's not being unique that makes you extraordinary. It's not being extraordinary that makes you unique. It's your uniqueness that makes you extraordinary. Bye. Have a great night.